Good morning to everybody. On behalf of the Dean of the School of Architecture, I have the pleasure to introduce today to you Duncan Lewis. Duncan is this semester guest professor in the 5th year Oriented Design Studio, the Urban Management Specialization. I think this is your second time in Pamplona, first time at the School of Architecture. But I hope it will be the beginning of a growing relationship. Well, Duncan was born in Scotland. He's Scotsman. He graduated at the Royal College of Arts in London. And after this, he moved to Japan, where he worked with Tim Su and Shiro Kuratama. After this experience, he moved to France, and finally in 2000, he founded Escape Architecture. And since then, he has become one of the most interesting French architects, and I dare to say worldwide also. I dare to say that as a Scotsman, I know Duncan only 1 month ago, but it's been enough time to know him perfectly because he's a kind of transparent architect, a very interesting architect. As a Scotsman, Duncan is deeply committed with the territory, the land, the nature. You will see in the lecture. But as due to his Japanese experience, I think he also learned the taste for the detail, for the culture, the science, the silence, and the depth, the shadows. We've been talking about arts, Japanese arts as haiku and ikebana. And as a European, as a Londoner or French, I think he's very, very, very committed with people, with the community, and the architecture as a tool to make cities, to make city. A consistent preoccupation of Lewis' work has been always the integration of architecture, nature, and landscape as a tool for reconnecting people with their environment. His work has been profounded and very awarded. Recently, his apartment block in Bordeaux has been nominated for the Miss Van der Rohe award, but he has a very interesting work. He also has been a curator of an exhibition in an Institute of Architecture of Euskadi titled Arboretum, very, very interesting, and his work has been exhibited in all around the world, from Bordeaux until Japan and London, etc. So I'm very pleased and happy to have Duncan with us. And I'm looking forward to hear his lesson for students. And I repeat it, very, very appreciate your presence here. Thank you very much, Duncan.
I think probably one of the best awards which I have had has been that Josie contacted me to come and work with you. So thank you very much for the invitation. I'm very sorry I can't speak Spanish to you, but I will try to speak slowly, but surely. Maybe some words you will not understand because I like to joke a little bit. That's life. So yes, the first thing, I shouldn't say this, but I've never been to an architectural school in my life. I didn't train in an architectural school. I trained in London as a designer. And it's just through the people I met that I started to get more and more interested in architectural work. But as you can see, as time goes by, I'm becoming very, very interested in large scale, about the territory. Yes, we're talking about reconnecting with nature, but you will see physically that happens, but the most important part is the human content. It's the fundamental part of the work. So today I'm going to show you some things, very strange things. I'm going to show you my diploma. I've never shown it before to anybody since my diploma. So I'd like to show you some very old, very strange things which I did when I was your age. Okay. Another thing is I'd like to not show you very many nice images of architecture. I'm more interested to share with you how I look, how I act with the people in the office. I prefer to do this than just show you images of architectural work, because a lot of my buildings are very, as I said, are very ugly. And I mean it, really. I think it's more interesting to think about architecture as being ugly, and that the people who are using it, they have a place inside the architecture to change themselves. So ugly, something which you can change. So it's very much linked to time aspects. So time as a material with inside the architectural process, for me, is very important. This is near the village where I was born. This is, everybody asks where you're from. So this is Scotland. Not many buildings. There are only cows and sheep. It's quite a nice place. You can walk for hours and not bump into anybody. So. And when I was younger, this is the street which I lived in, because we left Scotland and we went to live in a place in the north of England called Newcastle upon Tyne. It's along a river, the Tyne. It's the name of the ship. And this is the street where I was brought up. So you can see the presence of the boats are very, very strong. And when I was young, I used to go to the shipyard, and I used to do welding. Doing welding in the shipyard. It's very, very interesting to work with the people building these, with the pieces of metal which are about 3 centimeters thick. It's very, very interesting, very physical. I like very much. And then I went to the Royal College of Arts in London. And I had a great chance, because life is about a chance. It's about the people you meet, the people you eat with, the people you drink with, the people you discuss with. I'm very pleased about last weekend when we were in Galicia, and we're working on this village, and I saw the occupants of the village, like Carmen, an old lady of 84 years old, coming and hugging the students. For me, the project's already finished, you know. It's this relationship is very, very important for me personally. And then the second day when we went, Carmen had actually bought sweets for everybody. So it's very, I mean, it's very strong experiences. So the people I've crossed in my life, they're actually, I haven't gone to a school. I've just learned from people, and that's very important. So this is the Royal College of Art. This is one of my professors. I don't know if you heard his name. From Eto Sotsas. He wasn't there a lot, but we had some workshops with him. The same as Andrea Branzi. We went to Milan to the show. Ross, he was in the same class as me. Ross Lagrove, very good designer. Jasper Morrison, doing a lot of interesting industrial design and furniture design, with Ron as well. And this guy here, Anthony, he was the engineer who came and talked. I remember him coming with his suitcase, nice metal box. Oh, fantastic. And Anthony, in later years, I contacted him and he helped me to work on some projects. So that's very, very nice. And of course, the Royal College of Art, there are some interesting people who have gone through the Royal College of Art because it's an art school. It's all different disciplines. And this guy is quite well known. And in the canteen, we had some of the paintings. I don't know if they were the originals because he sells the paintings now for quite a lot of money, but this is David Hockney. And we had other paintings by Francis Bacon as well, who were in the school. So it's very nice to be in this sort of this place. And of course, this was a moment when I was at the Royal College where there was this new movement in design, very important in the design field. I was hoping maybe there could have been some of the design group to explain. This is the Memphis group, a very important moment in design. We went to the Milan show in '82. It was absolutely fantastic. And of course, SOSAS, with the Memphis group, they were developing these fantastic glassware from Murano. And of course, they said, you must go to Murano. You must see these guys producing this. And it was absolutely incredible. The tea set from Branzi. But here, very interesting things to see in the design process, this sort of reunification, which we can see are quite industrial with natural objects coming into contact, producing this sort of universe. So already looking at the environment. So these are some of the first drawings I did when I was at school, thinking about material, conversion of material, using the process of fire to transform materials, to talk about, these are some speakers, loudspeakers, which I made for Yamaha in those days. So thinking about, you always have these sort of like black speakers, the new black speakers, all the old speakers are in wood. So playing around with taking the wood, burning the wood, making the loudspeaker black, but then having this sort of material, like something which is related to sound. And I found this in my archives. I remember doing the competition for this. Maybe the youngsters don't know what this is. This is a very important design. This is a Walkman. And I did a competition for the Walkman, and we sent the competition to Japan, and we won the competition. I think Sony made a lot of money. I didn't get very much money, but they did pay for a trip to come to Japan. I worked with two other guys at the Royal College on these projects. It's very strange, but this is a small bookcase which I made in 83. I just sort of came across these. This is a chair I made many years ago. This is with my degree show. And in the Royal College, it's not just thinking and drawing, it's making. So all this is made in the workshops. We do. So sewing, so putting metal together, chrome work. This is a table I made for my degree show as well. I had 5 pieces. I fell in love with a Japanese girl at the Royal College, and so I started to get interested in the Japanese culture. So this is making. It's very interesting talking with you the last couple of weeks. Is this notion of eating, giving a moment at the table is very important. Very important. It's very important moments of the day. And it's important that it should rest in all the cultures because it's a universal support. So, and then when I finished my degree, I wanted to go to Japan, but someone gave me a job to work in a university, the University of Belfast. In this time, it was hot, very hot. This is one of my students. It was a very hot place, but I met a friend, a very good friend, who died 2 weeks ago, Deepak, and he offered me this job to set up a new design course in Belfast University, which I enjoyed very, very much. And one day, on the way to the university disappeared. So we finished in a small building working with the students, and we had a fantastic time. So it's quite strong moments. So then I had the possibility to go to Japan. Yeah, to do one thing or another, very important. And when I arrived in Japan, I bought myself a motorbike, 2 motorbikes. And I'm a very bad student. And what I decided to do is to learn the Japanese language, not by going to a class, but taking my motorbike and just driving. So that's what I did for 2 years. It was quite good. And everybody was saying, but you speak Japanese in a very strange way. I said, yes, I learned it from the people I met. そうですね。大丈夫ですか? But that was a very, very interesting moment, just going through Japan, going through Asia, going to China as well with a motorbike. And then I met this designer because I was more into design and in Tokyo, Shiro, and I already knew that he was linked to the Memphis group with Sotsas. So I tapped on his door. I said, I'm from the Royal College. I like the work you do, and my professor is Mr. Sotsas. Hey, come in. So he invited me to work with him a little in his office to think about some projects. This is a chair I like very much. He's taking an old chair, making the metal around, and then burning the chair inside to leave a sort of a phantom of the old chair. It's very interesting. And with Shiro, at this moment, I walked into his office. He said, Sotsas, he wants me to make a new chair, another chair. I said, well, I'd like to see and to work with you. So we worked on this chair. It's called Miss Blanche. I don't know if you know this lady from Gone with the Wind. And he said to me, I want to do a chair like this. And so this is what we did. This is called Miss Blanche. So it was taking roses, putting them inside the material, and to produce this chair. This is actually in his office when we're doing some of the prototype work. Sorry, the photos are not very clear, but they now are quite old. And this is the chair. So afterwards, as you say, I came back to Europe and I met an architect in Bordeaux, in Bordeaux. And Jacques, he said, I want you to work with me. I said, well, Jacques, I don't speak French. I don't do architecture. He says, I want you to come and work with me. He said, when you come back from Japan, stop in Paris because we will do a competition for the Musée Rodin in Paris. Wow. Okay, why not? And he said, when you arrive in the office, there will be another person who is just coming from Niger, Jean-Philippe Vassal. And there was another person who was called Brigitte Kani. She was coming from Thailand. You don't know this name, but she's my wife. And as well, she works with me, so she doesn't like to use her name. She just gives everything to me, so it's very generous. But she's involved in all the projects, every single one. And I couldn't do it alone. So I started becoming very interested, this relationship between architecture and our environment. And I noticed a lot that in the modern movement, we have architecture and the environment. And it's like a separation. We have a project which is finished, which you cannot touch. And beside, we do a garden. So I'm really wanting to try to bring those things together, to share those things, and to work with the environment, but with nature, our nature and the environment. Because the nature is very interesting. Sometimes we go against it, but I think we can use it. And I think we need to use it. We really need to use it for us, but in very special ways. This is in Russia. This is a football stadium. So again, the landscape, very often in a city, we think the landscape is the void, is the emptiness inside the city. Maybe we should think that in the city, the landscape is full. It's not a void. We saw this in Santiago. It's very mineral. But sometimes we came to a place, a small plaza, and there was like a tree, and around the tree, for me, it's in an architectural space. It's fascinating. I must go a bit quicker, I think. Oh, it's just text, written text, which. So gradually, people got to know me. And I was invited to this university, which you know very well, I think. It's the same sort of setup as you have here in Pamplona. And I was invited to work with the students, thinking about territory, thinking about architecture, and starting to think even about urban planning. And I had a really fascinating time with the students. And I have a very good friend as well. And this was a biologist when we were working in Pamplona, in Barcelona. And this is drawings which for me are very important in my work. So in the top is this phenomenon which is in biological terms an ecotone. It's very interesting, an ecotone. I think it's a very good basis of foundation when we're thinking of architecture and the city. Ecotone is about ecosystem. You have one ecosystem, you have another ecosystem, and the ecosystems come and they don't collide, they cross. And in the middle, there is a third element, which is a composition of the different ecosystems. And inside, there is a little different element. This is the ecotone. And this ecotone protects the environment of the architecture. If only we could think about architecture in this way. The joining of an ecosystem to produce other parts inside the environment, the architecture environment. That's what I try to do. I don't always arrive, and it's not so easy, but this is, I was very lucky as well because I have a very good friend in Bordeaux, Fabio, who's at Arcarev, who contacted me 2 years ago, and he said, Duncan, I would like you to participate in an exhibition. Ah, thank you. We just want 1 or 2 models and some drawings. Yeah, no problem. You will be with James Wines, Miss Van der Rohe, Jeffrey Bauer. I don't know if you know Jeffrey Bauer. So for me, yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. So he put the exhibition together. He invited me for a conference, and it was very, very strong moment. Very, very strong with this guy, with the resistance went. And I'm very pleased that it's gone down to San Sebastian. And the other day we visited with the group from the studio. It's a small exhibition, but if you look carefully, there's some very, very, very interesting things. And if you go to San Sebastian, there are 2 or 3 people inside who work in the gallery. They are absolutely fantastic. Fantastic. They know more about my project than I do. Incredible. So if you get a chance, it's going to be closing soon. Really good. So this is a photo in Japan. It's north of Tokyo. And when I look at this photo, I think, well, why cannot we not think about on the limits of the city, thinking in a disposition between architecture and the landscape in this sort of way, to think about our future landscape made by humans, lived with humans. Could it not be something different? So this is in the north of Tokyo. This is to protection against the wind. Very interesting. Sorry, you don't see much architecture. I'm not here to speak about Japanese architecture. I find this fascinating. It's there for many reasons. For me, it's architecture. The landscape is architecture, a living landscape. And of course, this living material is quite fascinating. This is the biggest hedge in the world. It's in Wales. It's a living organism which humans control a little, but of course the living organism grows. So we have this completely irregular. It's architecture. It can be big. This can help us. This can serve us even. So this is the project of a few houses which I made. And again, it's with someone who lived in a very small village with this forest. And she wanted to build a place to invite people for a short time, for holidays. So it's, again, how to bring together small urban structures and natural structures. So this is a collage. It's a collage I made many years ago. This was in the beginning of the thinking process. I will be showing some of the people in the studio about how to make a collage, how to think, how to take risks, how to play. These are photos taken from the site, and thinking about this relationship. And last year, one of my students invited me to do in a gallery. So these are very big drawings. These are the collage, thinking about, this was somebody from the office, and he had no hair. So he said, Duncan, can you put some hair on me? So I said, yeah, okay, we'll put some hair on you. He said, oh, this is a nice drawing. I like this. So this is the model, which we made very, very, very quickly. We only had one week to make the project. So again, I want to show you these elements because maybe thinking about communicating with models to yourself, but to a client is very important. How should we do? Maybe the architectural tools we use maybe are not so easy to communicate with the general public, your mother and your father. I can imagine you taking your models that you make here and showing your father, what's this? Don't understand a thing. It's all black. What's these layers? I don't understand. So I'm not going to talk about very many technical things today. It's just showing the process. So this is the drawings, very simple. So a split level. So here again, the landscape becomes an integral part of the architecture. It's not something which is made afterwards. It's at the same time. The same time. It's very important. Because if you just think about architecture, when we start to build this project here, believe me, the mayor, she started getting very worried. She said this looks like a transformator for electric company. And we put the landscape 20 centimeters close to the building. Oh, you talk to landscape designers, technicians, it is not possible to put trees closer than 3 meters 50 from a facade. You just have to think the combination of the two together at the same moment at the same time. So there are protective elements on the foundations. And here, why is this here? It's to take away the hard edges of window frames. And you will see that today, the dimensions of the landscape around the building are like this. So you don't know what is living, what is dying. It's a sort of game, a visual game. This is during the construction. We made a wallpaper for the interior. In these days, we just had a big photocopier, so we did it ourselves because we didn't have very much money in the office. Again, playing between what is inside and what is outside. Making as much relation as we can between the outside and the living spaces. And everybody, I will show you the photo of the project. Everybody say, inside, looking, oh, it must be very black inside. Must be very dark. No. It's because you have an idea in your mind. No, it's not dark. And this is very interesting. It's climatization, automatic. The trees. We have places where there are windows, and you can use the trees. This tree in the winter. Window, the sun. The sun coming. In the summer. La, 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 la. No sun coming. Feel better. It's very technical. Incredibly technical. Low tech. So this is the facade. Everybody in France, camouflage. So, you want to see camouflage? We use real camouflage colors. We play with this. I like playing with these French people a little bit, But what is very interesting, this here, in the spring, it's the first tree to blossom. It's pink. It's a prunus, pink. So you come into the landscape and you see pink. And I say, camouflage, pink. This photo was taken about 20 years ago. You can imagine the time. It's a bit strange. But it changes color. It's a facade which changes color, which helps the comfort of how we live. It integrates the volume into the environment. I don't want to ask any more. It's enough for me. Oh, yes, but to keep this in order, it's a lot of work, a lot of work. 4 hours in a year to somebody come and to cut. In the city, if we have a great big skyscraper with glass, how do we have to look after this? Oh. Yes. And the tree, but it will die. Maybe. The people who come here, they like it so much, they go, they buy a tree and they plant it themselves. Zero entretien. No looking after. Looks after itself. And everybody, when we did this project, it lasts for 2 or 3 years, never work. It's as well about density, working with density, cohabitation between different buildings. These are people who are leaving the city, coming here. So again, this idea of proximity. But you can say, oh, I must be brilliant inside. There must be spiders. There must be birds. Oh. Yeah, they are, of course. You have to choose. You have to choose if you want to separate from the environment or you want to be with the environment. This is a ground level building. It's very ugly, huh? It's for handicapped people. So this is the ground level. And some of the hedges, it's very bad. It's a very bad choice of hedges. But I want it because all in the environment here, there are very bad gardens with and I want to use the same thing as them, just so this, they don't feel, oh, it's perfect. Oh, it's a little bit like, oh, yes. So these are living areas, outdoor living areas. A little bit, maybe things we can see in Fontainebleau. This is maybe 10 years after the project was given. But some people said, oh, it's quite interesting. This maybe to discover what is architecture in relationship to the landscape. So we were invited to have an exhibition in the Guggenheim Museum in New York. So it's quite cool. And of course, recently, we have been invited. Thank you very much, Jose. This is the first project I ever built. And I did this with my professor, Anthony, in Paris. It's an extension for a building, for a school. And in a courtyard, nothing. So we said, well, maybe we have to plant some trees and think about a project in the time inside the tree. Everybody loves a tree house, you know? All cultures, young people. And so with these trees growing around this sort of idea of a volume, I said, well, I'd like to a little bit. Anthony, can you help me? Can you help me? I have an idea. I don't know how to do it. He said, no problem. But what was difficult, you cannot see very well in the drawings. In plan, these are not in the same level. They're all a bit different. So my professor, Anthony, said, it's going to be hard to do this one. So I decided to make some models. So we made some models of the project, and I sent photos to Anthony. He said, we're going to do this, Duncan. We're going to do this one. And this was the model, full-scale model of the project. So just trying to make this sort of disappearing of architecture in relationship to this new landscape. This is in the factory. It was nice because this was a shipbuilding factory. So I was like at home, you know. There are a lot of stories behind this project. At this moment, we did not know that the company was going bankrupt and they were closing the factory. But we had such an interesting discussion with these guys. They said, we're not going to touch any more money, but we would like to finish your project. So they used to come working for free so they could finish the project. My first project. This is the smallest project I ever made in my life. I thought I'd show you some small projects as well today. I had a friend who said, I would like you to make a greenhouse for me. He said, it's in a very difficult place. It's on a hill. There's a lot of wind. So I said, well, okay. So what I did, I planted a forest, a bamboo forest. And I took some bamboo, produced this envelope, and pushed to produce this volume, 60 meters square. This is the facade. There's no foundation of the project. There's no foundations. But we have some metal cables linking the living bamboo to the structural bamboo, which goes through the facade. And what is very interesting, the wind, the bamboos start to move, the buildings start to move, it moves together. And on the roof, the rain, it makes small, and it moves, and the rain. Of course, the time changes. The facade changes. The humidity. Very often the kids, I love you. I love you. I love Sammy. And of course, my father comes to France because he likes to drink and eat. He said, I like to visit. The project was for 3 weeks. It lasted 5 years. And then somebody bought and put it into another garden in the south of France. I go very quickly through this project, but as I was talking to Asier, there's some works I've done, I never built. It's very important moments for me. I'd like to share. with you. I was very, very interested in all the land movement, land art, l'arte povera. And we had a project, it was against the Jean Nouvel. And we win. I won against Jean Nouvel 2 or 3 times. He's a very good friend. We had to have a motorway going through near Versailles. There's a lake with like a valley. And we have to take a bridge. But the lake is not very good. The valley is not very good. So the idea is maybe we can do a project which we better not in form, but for the people going there. And this inspired me, this sort of movement through the landscape. And in France, if we think of a road, for me, being Scottish, a road in France, it's this. It's the mental image of France, driving in France with a caravan, with my mom and dad, and my sister. So this is the project. So we decided rather than just doing a bridge, we'd work about a piece of landscape. So we would prepare to go into the bridge before and after. Bridge is here, but we worked 1 kilometer. I think it's very important when we're thinking about architecture, we should not just be talking about how the toilet works. Of course, it must work. How the kitchen works. Yes, we have to cook. How the facade works. Yes, of course. How the roof works. Yes, it rains. And then we have the garden. Yeah. Bit further, bit further, bit further, bit further. So I think we can actually start thinking about feeling things very far from initially where we're going to work. And that creates very interesting tensions, dimensions, scale. So this is the project. It's about planting trees to make a bridge. These are the models which we made. And this is a collage which I made, which I will tell my studio how I made. Today, it will take too much time. This is a special tree. It grows in water. It's in taxodium. And it has a root system which goes up like this, and it comes out of the water, like a tube. It breathes out of water. So the clients say, it's in Louisiana, we're in France. Oh, yes, maybe we can, it's a long way. And one day I was walking 2 kilometers from the site. What's that? There's a tree growing in the water. Taxodium. Ah, science. Yes, it does exist. Strange. Huh? Sometimes we have to be very curious when we're working all the time, looking and searching. And there are possibilities which open, which are fantastic. This is a high school, which I built with a friend of mine from Norway, Ogi, who had another motorbike in Japan. She said, Duncan, I want to work. We must do some work together. Well, okay. It's a competition. This is the site where the yellow dots, very beautiful. Magic. And they said in the competition, you can build here. I said, Ogi, I come to visit the site with you, okay? So after visiting the site, we decided to do here. You have to take risk. So we decided we have to be a bit hard with this environment, you know, in the name of ecology. Sustainability. This is sustainability. In the heart of this place. In this place, there was a piece of stone, granite, 5 meters 45 high. Very interesting. 5 meters 45. It's a very good height to go into a school. It's a good dimension. It's not 2 meters, it's not 8 meters. 5 meters is quite good. So we decided to work there, to cut into. And this project is all about taking what is in the situation, in the landscape, and converting it into architecture. All the concrete was made by here. All the stones here. All the wood from here. This is the plan. Sorry, it's not very focused well. And in this moment, I lived in a troglodyte. I lived in an underground house. My Norwegian friends were incredible, incredible. So these are the drawings of the ground level. And then there was an upper level where the client said, you must have an indication for the students, a color. Okay, no problem. Make some color as well. These are the drawings showing the fracturing, reassembling. This is the main hall. And of course, there was this upper level, which was the forest. And this is I like very much Giuseppe Pennan. Looking in time, playing with time. So we took trees, we take them back to France. This is me on the right, cutting the trees to make molds, to make artificial trees. Because this surface is fantastic. Fantastic. You look, touch, feel, see, relationship of time, the weather, of insects, of people cutting. Wow. It's like a memory of the place. So we wanted to take this memory and to put it directly into the project. And of course, we did this with the kids. So working with different materials, combinations. This is the upper level. Sorry, it's very ugly. It's like that. It's like that with me. It's a bit ugly. And we had quite an important prize to do with sustainability. So can you imagine? Competition, explosion, there where we should not go. And then we finish with the most important, the kids inside. It's cool. This is the exhibition. This is a social housing project. I must go quite quickly now because otherwise. I was contacted by Jean Nouvel, say, Duncan, I would like you to join a team so we can do some social housing in Melouse with Jean-Philippe, Nan, Lacatavassa, sorry, Shigoroban. So yeah, okay. Why not? It's a very interesting place. It's the oldest social housing project in France. Made from blocks of houses, square houses. All are the same. Blum, 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 blum. 4 houses cut into 4, and each one with a small garden to today. Today, nothing the same. People. Just about people. They have Olympic swimming pool, Olympic basketball, barbecues, extensions for the summer. What do you want more in architecture? It's perfect. Places to drive, park the caravan, terrace. In the heart of the city. What do you want more? And they grow vegetables, incredible in their gardens. But this is the road structure. This is the road structure. I say, it's a bit of a problem in your neighborhood. No. My next door neighbor. Hi, Joe. I want to take the car out. Do you want some bread? Yeah, why not? Can you move your car? No problem. Move my car. So I asked the Jean Nouvel and La Cantafassa and Shigroman, we must not change the road structure. We must continue the road structure in the new proposition. I said, yeah, well. So this is just analyzing, thinking about these sort of different extensions, people changing the architecture. So it's not something which you sit down at a table and you draw. No. It draws by itself in the time. So these are the drawings I decided where we have like these four houses in these gardens. I have to make it very cheap. Cheap, very cheap. So looking at petrol stations, very good, very, very economic. A petrol station is very radical, very good. It's quite high. You get the Lorient, quite like that. So we based the project on a petrol station. So these are the drawings. So for me, the 5th room, of course, is outside. Living outside. Nearly. Wait a moment. So this is just talking about the mechanism of thinking about the spaces, the relation of spaces, the relation of the land. I've never shown anybody this photo. Not so good. It's a collage. So this is social housing. So rather than thinking about volume, because when I visited some of the people, they had actually changed inside their house because they had cellars. So it's very interesting, not just changing what is outside, but what's changing inside. So I said, well, I'd like to give, because I can't pay for everything, but in the time, maybe there's an opportunity to occupy this space in another way, because I give the volume. Yeah, my God. So this is the model of the project. And client said, yes, but this landscape, it's on the public space. I said, yeah, but it's just a landscape. Yeah, but there's some things helping the landscape because all this, people in the future, has been calculated so they can use, they can build inside the landscape structure. It's a plan, very simple. So as you can see, it was an old factory, very hostile for me. We used a constructive system which we imported from America, Steel Tech. Don't use. It's hell on earth. Hell on earth. You know why? The people, this is made by machine, and each piece has a number. It's a mecanona. But unfortunately, the construction company, it was coming, and with a saw, no, don't touch. It's pieces coming together. Complicated moments, but very interesting. So as I say, I build quite ugly structures to live in. Maybe. Maybe. In the heart of the city. We're not in the countryside. We're in the city. Double heights. This lady, 2 years ago, I went to visit. She said she pays 320 euros a month for the social housing. It's good. It's good. And of course, outside it's indispensable. It's so important to be outside. This is a project of Jean-Philippe Alain Caton in Maloud. Mine's disappearing. It's leaving. Please. Go for it.
Bueno, esto es una carta que le escribieron a Duncan los vecinos. Estimado Duncan Lewis, desde agosto del 2011 vivimos el número 32 del Passage de Reseñol en la Cite Manifest de Mulhouse. Como arquitecto de esta casa, queríamos escribirle para compartir con usted el placer que sentimos por vivir aquí. Nos encanta poder subir a la azotea, donde hay una vista de sol ideal. También disfrutamos de su maravillosa vista panorámica sobre las montañas que forman el horizonte. Los árboles que rodean la casa crean un ambiente tranquilo en el corazón de la Cite Manifest. A los pájaros les gusta quedarse allí. Tenemos la oportunidad de disfrutar de su dulce melodía cada mañana. Nos encantan los espacios y la luminosidad de cada habitación. Su sobriedad apela a nuestra vida cotidiana y nos permite al mismo tiempo crear nuestro propio universo. Los colores de cada estación se reflejan en todas las estancias de nuestro apartamento y las ventanas dejan pasar la luz del sol desde el amanecer hasta el atardecer. Por primera vez sentimos que pertenecemos a un barrio real en el que intercambiamos con nuestros amigos de al lado. Estamos organizando el Día de los Vecinos en la Cite Manifest el próximo 30 de mayo. Estaremos encantados de que vengas. Esperamos verte pronto. Céline y Christophe.
Very ordinary things, very simple things. Just to give a little bit of pleasure with people who don't have so much money. Why not? That's what I like doing. This is a high school in the north of France. I go quite quickly because I think we must stop at 2. In the valley of the Meuse. Fantastic. There was an existing school perpendicular to the slope. classes with a corridor. So in the corridor, you're in the black. You see nothing. You see nothing. We said it's just impossible. So we decided to think about how we could maybe rebuild the landscape with the project, and to say that at all times, at all moments, you have the possibility to look out to the valley. It's maybe the best condition to put the body in when learning. So we talked about this. How do we do this new configuration to the landscape? This is the image of the competition. These are the plans. It was to do housing for students, housing for the professor, the main building. This building was already there, we cannot touch, and a gymnasium. This is the roof plan. This is the ground plan, but it's a strange ground plan because all this is a different level. It was very complicated to work with the construction. And this is in the competition, in the program, listen to this. Listen to this. In the program, the collective space for the students, 90 meters square. 800 students, 90 meters square. We produce a meeting place, 2,800 meters square for the same price. It's a very ugly building, I think. Doing with very, very little money, so having to put money where you need. This is a shared space for the students. This is the administration. It's the only part of the building which is in 2 levels. So you can see the project, 16,000 meters square. It's quite small. We had the chance to an exhibition in Berlin. This is me a few years ago, housing project. Before there was nothing here, no trees, no vegetation, no building, no people, nothing. This is my project today. I have a lot of problem in France working with architects. They say this guy, can't publish it. How can you publish this in an architectural magazine? How can I do it? I can't. This is, I had this photo sent to me from 2 students from Berlin. They went here and they said, Duncan, it's a long time. I sent you a photo. We've just gone to Montpellier. Winter. Southern facade. This is the south. Hot. Winter. Summer. It's good to have a good drink here on the terrace. A few years ago, we finished in 10 minutes, I promise you, because I'm boring you with very ugly projects. This is Lascaux. I had a telephone call from Oslo. Hello, this is Snøhetta. Who? Snow? Snøhetta. We would like to join you to do a competition. Oh, yeah, maybe, okay. I call you. So I look, Snoiter, they done this sort of opera in Oslo. Yeah, I telephoned my good friend Ogman Sole in Trondheim. Do you know Snoiter? Yeah. Quite cute. So I said, okay, let's try. And another point, most important point, this is to do an artificial replica of a cave which is very important, Lascaux. You know Lascaux? There's some small drawings, you know. Small drawings. They've affected art contemporary, all art contemporary. Picasso, Miro. So to produce a false cave, yes, but it's for, because the old cave has to close. I think so you were talking in Spain, it's the same thing. They've had to close the cave because the drawings are disappearing. Lascaux. I had the possibility to visit the real cave. It's very rare. I'm not sure if this video works. So what about taking risks? Putting you into a situation, a place. This video is very bad quality, but it's a very special video for me. Very special. We have to make actions. Here we're going into another place in another time, thinking about these people who draw. But we're today. Today. It's like what we were saying this morning. It's very good to look at the past and to use the past, but we must project ourselves into the future. Into the future. This is not Lascaux, so but for me it's important to go to extremes. It's very bad. You can see it. Just try that. "500 meters high. They do parachuting. And of course, Lascaux is about what? They don't know. They don't know. Why? It's about this relationship between ourselves in the past and this. Power. Certain elegance. This is where the original cave can be found. You cannot visit anymore. And when we visit the cave, what was very important, to be outside and to go in. It's like making yourself in condition to go into a very special place. Very special place. This is the an animation showing the cave of Lascaux. So this is the cave. And you have different places inside the cave with different drawings. This is a photo I took in the cave, the existing cave of Lascaux. I did not know these are drawings from 18,000 years ago. 18,000. How old are you, Asia? How old are you? 18,000. It's difficult to imagine. They're here. They used the shape of the rock when they're drawing to produce 3-dimension. They superimposed gravings with the drawings, which were made from the materials which they found in the cave walls. Some of the drawings are superimposed to make animation. 18,000 years ago. Perspective, animation, representation. Drawing this in the dark, going outside, making a memory and changing the memory into a physical movement of the hand using the materials they find. It's a good architectural process. And these toros, the drawing of the toro is 5 meters, so it's not small. This is the site. What to do? This is the first drawing. My first collage. Water, relationship of the context, the environment, the hill, pulling down the hill. Not to produce a project, but project is not so important. It's the condition of the people before visiting the paintings. This is the drawing. This is the drawing image from the competition. The general plan. This is the they call this a facsimile. This is the structure of the copy of the cave. Well, these are the cuts, because the idea was not to produce a building, but an extension of the hill. And we make very quick working models in the office in Bordeaux. And we had a Snoetter, Frank, he used to come very often to work with us in the office. Working with the structure. So this is the start of the construction work. And we had this area here which goes through the whole project. It's the linking space between the different rooms, which has a glass roof. And this space was very complicated because I wanted to give the impression that it had been cut by water, because the water is a very important part in this environment, like a canyon. But it was very complicated to make, but the construction was very, very interesting. And then they have to produce this artificial cave. So here they are working. We're 25 artists working in replica. And this is the main facade. This is, you go into the museum, you go out onto the roof, you visit the environment, and then you come down, which is in relationship to the hill. And then you go in. And then there are other places where you can actually learn. We worked with a scenograph in London, Castleman. This is the central. And that was something which I wanted to keep, which was very difficult, that the roof was public. People could go onto the roof whenever they wish. They don't have to visit the center. They could just walk on the roof. I got 3 minutes, so I will go quite quickly. They gave me this site for kids. It's not possible. What's the temperature in summer? In Toulouse, 43 degrees. 43. It's hot. Too hot for kids. So we said what we must do before we do the project, we must put something inside which can help to bring the temperature down. So we decided to plant a forest, a wood, and use this because trees, as you know, as I've told you in the studio, they're very interesting living elements in the landscape which we can make cohabitation with. So we planted trees. I like planting trees. We have the temperature of this site has gone down 3.2 degrees. It's not bad. And the facade, I didn't want to draw the facade, so the kids, I said, you do what you want. Draw the facade. I have 30 seconds to go, and I must finish. This is Kiwi Lands. You know what Kiwi Land is? It's very good for you. It's good, very good. Kiwi is very good. Oranges, very good. Vitamin. It's a festival in Spain. Tomatoes in the morning with the bread, with a tomato, with a little bit of salt. Tomatoes. It's nice. This can bring people together, you know. Normally I have the sound, but it's not working. The sound is quite good. Tomatoes. Tomato land. Huh? So in Festa, think about festivals, food festivals, please. No? It's something which happens all around the world. It's related to the moment in the year. I think we should use this as an integral part in architecture. This is my project. They say, we must cut all this away because there's laws which you cannot make agriculture. I said, but it's good. This is good to eat. How can you? Very interesting. And I came across a system to do with kiwis in New Zealand. It's how we grow the kiwi to make it as an agricultural. So this is my project. This is the building. It's a bit ugly. This was taken in the beginning. And all the facades fall down. So during the part of the year when we come to collect and harvest the kiwis, all the village, because this is for a village, all the village come. And it's like a flower, it opens, and we take the kiwi. Strangely enough, the kiwi has a very good leaf, very nice leaf, very nice. Excess. Takes the heat away. This is the project today. And they have a festival now each year to come, to eat, to pick the kiwi. It's a community. They have rediscovered the community through architecture. And I am over time, but I must just show you this small project in Bordeaux. It's a housing project in the center of the city. Bordeaux has two halves, east and west. West is the old capital, the old center, and this was more the industrial area. And they asked a friend of mine, Winnie Mass, to do a project. This is his project. And someone said to me, we would like you to make the first building in this new urbanistic area in Bordeaux. It's a bit too much about the form. I'm not so sure. They have a Darwin, so a place here in the city in Darwin, very bad condition. They said, oh, please try, but you must do a competition. Okay, against who? Winnie Mass. Oh, Lord. I win the competition. I don't know why. No, I think I know why. And Winnie Mass worked with all this form, the light coming in, la 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 la. Very beautiful architecture building. Oh la 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 la. It's not ugly enough for me. And the limit of the facade must stay here. And all the balconies must be inside. They don't know about this linking together with the environment. They don't know. People have lost this feeling, which is an important feeling. It's an essential feeling. And we have this small plot of land, 5 meters, 23 centimeters, and 8 millimeters. So I said, I must use this intelligently, but for everybody who lives here. So I took the geometry of Winnie Mass and I make farm man. And I produce this place, this space. And then I fill this space with a garden. And then I say, maybe now I can put some things in the garden, in this garden, balconies, terraces. My client was quite interested because it meant more space inside the building. So this one, Winnie Mass, no. Sure? Let me look. You sure? Huh? Are you sure? Okay, good idea. So just these are very quick working models, thinking of getting away from the form, using the form, but getting away, and thinking about this new space, collective space, shared space. First sketches, collage. And I was this is in Portugal. This is a garden. It's a cold greenhouse. Cold greenhouse. So south facade, a cold greenhouse, and balconies, living spaces, bringing people to live better in a better quality. And all the apartments go from one facade to another. So it's quite nice. You have air coming under the building, coming up here. You open your window here and here, and the fresh air. When everybody came here, they all wanted climatization. Jan, who's a lady I know very well, she said, Duncan, I've never used it. Never used my climatization. That's good. So these are the drawings of this garden. Yes, we work very closely with the landscape, using it, playing with it. And this is the project. So we have all these spaces which normally we were not allowed. And we have this new this space, shared space where people communicate between themselves. And this is today. These are trees which are inside because we want to give everybody, as soon as possible, this comfort because it helps with bioclimatic situations with inside the building. We worked with a company in Munich, in Germany. This is I took last week. This is my good friend, Jan. She's a wonderful lady. She lived in the countryside. Now she lives in the city. Students, a lot of students live here. Okay, I will stop there. I have other things, but time has run out. And we have work to do this afternoon, I think. Okay, so anyways, it's just to share you a few projects. I have other projects, but there we are.
Someone wants to make a question or Duncan.
This is a project which I decided to do, but I did not draw. The landscape drew for me. It's for old people who have a problem with eczema. So the landscape drew for me. This is the different things which we find, which we use, we transplant, then we re-inject onto the project to produce better living conditions. Because when we had the COVID, when we had the epidemic, I was very, very shocked indeed when we saw old people living in places for old people. I was very shocked. I was very disgusted as a society to put our old people into places where the windows don't go down to the floor. They stay here. And when they're sitting, they cannot see outside. I was disgusted, really disgusted. And this project is trying to talk about this, to give an opportunity to be more in link where you are, to take profit of the outside, to open up windows, to bring fresh air. Before humans invented penicillin, you can see the hospitals, they were all open. Because what we do, we took the beds outside and we put them outside in the fresh air. And then when penicillin came, it altered all the structure of the hospitals. They became closed environments. Maybe we should learn things about being more linked to the environment, I think. Okay. Thank you very much.